The ManSpace is midlifed. Kind of. And we're phoning it in. Today on the ManSpace. Welcome to the ManSpace podcast. We're your hosts, Doctors Matt Brown and Rob Porter, and clinical therapist Mike Porter. Welcome, Spacemen. I don't know what that intro means.
No, because the ManSpace is mid-loafed.
Hey-o!
Because that's kind of what midlife feels like.
Mid-loafed?
Am I interpreting that statement correctly?
Yes, you are.
Hey, I told Matt this. Mike, have you watched Chernobyl?
No.
You guys should both. It's on HBO. Dude, it is so good. I've watched it 3 times. It's only 5 episodes.
Wasn't it on Netflix?
No.
Well, maybe HBO produced,
I think it was
right?
made for HBO, yeah.
I thought it was because I remember maybe it was Prime. Because Prime has
links into HBO. You can watch your channels on Prime. Dude, I've watched it 3 times. We watched it this 3rd time so my daughter could see it. She had a hard time with the first episode. She's like, it was
that's when everyone
so
melts,
hard to
right?
watch. Yeah, essentially.
Yeah, you told me about that one.
Dude, it is, man, so good. That's all. That's the ManSpace plug for Chernobyl. Watch it and learn history.
We did. What did we watch? I think I mentioned this last week. The other Bennett sister.
Also delightful.
Yeah.
What did I watch that I was like?
there was some other
Yeah.
BritBox thing you were talking about, I think.
I started Bookish.
Oh, it was on Apple TV. Oh, it was Widow's Bay.
Oh,
yeah.
You got to use my login, man. That show is pretty freaking awesome. I loved it.
What is it?
It's like I'd call it like a comedy horror. It's kind of like I
don't do horror.
I know.
You don't?
But dude.
Like gore or just scary?
Dude, this is not scary at all. Like there are parts where there's like a sea hag who's coming to get him, and he like flings her off of him by opening his lazy boy. It's like, it's funny, man. And there's some murderer trying to chase this lady, and just watching her run down the street is so funny, the way she runs. Like, I can't describe it. I think that last episode only, it started to feel a little heavier or dark to me, but the rest of it was freaking awesome, man. Watch it. Widow's Bay.
You're not the boss of me.
Am and I.
Dang it.
Am not I? I don't feel like we have anything else to meander about because we're at midlife, so let's go.
Well, let me ask you this. We're all approaching empty nester phases, which again, I think like that is, for most guys, I think that's like the typical reaction.
Yeah.
So are you having any other reactions as you think about it? Or is it just me?
It's interesting because you say that like you say it as though reactions that are not good. Is that what you mean? Are we having reactions that are like the opposite of yay?
Yeah, I don't know that they would not be good, but just anything other than like excited anticipation for it.
I have thought like I will miss my kids. I told my wife this. I've always wanted to reach this point where they're empty nesters because, as one friend puts it, he's like, I suddenly realized I did it. My job is done.
Yeah.
And I've slowly realized over time, like, is it? And in the end, I miss all the fun stuff with my kids. Although And part of this is that my kids right now are all kind of stuck at home. And like friends have been gone, or they have no jobs because they're waiting to go on missions or whatever their things are, where it's like, this is too much. You guys, I think you guys would be cool to hang out with for a couple of weeks and then go live your life again.
Yeah.
And so I don't know yet. I think what I used to dread was that midlife meant, and when my kids are gone, I knew that eventually the excitement of just it being me and my wife would die down. And then I'm going to be bored. And then I will also think, should I be doing more with my life? And have I missed a window of opportunity that I should have taken? That's been my worry. Mike has none. He's a no cycling man.
I mean, like, I feel like none of my kids' launching has gone smoothly.
Does it ever?
I
feel like
for some people
sometimes.
it does.
Yeah, maybe.
Which, like, that's hard. Like, I look at our family and I think, no, we pretty much all hit a certain age and we're like, see ya.
Kind of.
Now, but this is where I started to hedge my bet there, because that's the part, like, I think as a younger person, like, I thought of launching as just like, okay, they're successfully out of the house. That was launching to me, which we all did, right? Once we all left the house, we left the house.
No, that's not true.
Paul came home.
So did Mare.
Did she? Well, I didn't think
she went up.
left.
She went up to Southern Utah University and then came back.
Yeah, but didn't she come back for summer school?
No, she went to one semester and hated it and left. Came back.
Oh, and was home again for.
Yeah.
Huh. That's interesting.
And I don't know. I guess Rick left, but anyway, keep going.
Well, no. So right, like, clearly in my head, I don't think I knew Paul had gone off, did a semester, and I think came back.
Yeah.
And so I guess that's true.
But also, not to mention that almost everyone in the family at some point went back and lived with mom and dad in the basement. It was just in the basement.
Yes, although that is, like, if you structure, like, I don't know, there's ways to structure that where it can be quite separate.
True. It's just, I wonder how that feels in terms of launching.
Well, so that's the thing, right? Like I said, to me, some of my consideration was based on the simplicity of things, right? The simplicity, because, like, Jenner and I lived in mom's and dad's basement twice. And I think, some of that, like, in my head, I was like, but I had still launched. Now, when I sit and reflect on myself and things I wish I had learned and things I wish I'd done sooner, no, I look at that and I think, I hadn't actually launched yet. Like, there was still, like, to me, my, like, hard launch was Texas, because I put myself somewhere where there was nobody. I mean, you came to Austin 9 months later, but before then, like, that was it. It was me and Jenner, and we had no choice but to figure out how to do things. And we, again, well, and that's where it all gets complicated. I guess, how are we defining launch?
Well, I mean, it's kind of interesting. I think that's an ongoing process. Maybe that's what you're talking about, Matt, when you say, are there other feelings that come up that are like not as yay?
Yeah.
Because even my friend where he talked about, like, I did my job. I know from what's going on with this, he's got a kid who's like 26 or 7 or something. And that kid is kind of like, they're like, hey man, graduate college, like, I'm like, well, you're still doing your job.
Yeah.
Like,
I guess for that phase of it. Yeah. Sorry. Keep going. I got to answer this text.
No, you're fine. I was going to say, like, for me, one of the things that came with my family moving to Missouri, like, I think with the 3 girls, right? Obviously, Cole stayed behind in Texas. But with the 3 girls, like, we developed pretty solid friendships where Like, yes, they still frustrate me. Yes, there's still things that I'm just like, seriously? But for the most part, like, I just enjoy spending time with my kids. And so, like, part of me worries, and part of that is based off of how I know I do things as a person. Like, when I leave a place, I leave a place.
You're dead to me.
I mean, that's not untrue. You have to help me remember, by the way, you shut your mouth, you know what's good for you. What's that from?
I don't know. You shut your mouth, you know what's good for you. Dude.
But we hear it the same way, right?
Yeah, I'll look it up.
I couldn't find an exact quote for it. Dumb and Dumber had one. You shut your mouth, you know it's good, or like you'll stop talking, you know it's good for you, buddy. When the cop is talking to Lloyd and whatever his name is.
Anyway, keep going.
Anyway, Jane was asking me. That's why I brought it up. And so part of me worries like that my kids won't ever come see me. Because like I haven't been to Utah in 4 years probably. Like it's been a while. 20, I think last time I was in Utah was summer of 2020. Might have been summer of 21. I don't remember for sure, but that was in St. George. Like I don't think I've seen mom and dad since a year before that, whatever that was. And yeah, so I do worry a little bit like that my kids will just not interact with me, right? But then at the same time, like I grew up in a time when of necessity you only called your parents like once a week.
Yeah.
Because none of us could afford and then you had to wait till 8 p.m. and like you weren't going to have some long rambling phone conversation. You were going to keep it to less than an hour because you paid for every single minute of that. Whereas true. Now my kids are just like, I'm bored. Does someone want to be on camera with me while I do this thing? And I'm like, you're not doing anything. Like, no. Like, yeah, you're chatting, but you're chatting about random nonsense. Like, why do I need to be on camera for this? Which if my kids hear this, they're going to be like, damn. But I like, and so to me, I like a little bit, I worry like my kids, I'm like, you need to figure out how to function on your own. Like Allie would do it at school. She would often call Jenner and I on Friday nights when we were trying to have date night. And we had to finally just be like, no, like it's date night. Like we're not going to answer the phone call on date night. She's like, but I'm bored. I'm like, we don't care. Well, that's what I would say. Jenner was much nicer about it than I was. But I was just like, no, sorry, I can't be your social. Like, go figure out your social.
Do you feel though, like if we moved it away for a second and when Matt comes back, maybe he'll chime in on this idea of like the launching thing? Because it's funny when I talk about, I've been thinking about, I've had a number of thoughts lately about midlife that I've really enjoyed. Partly because I recognize, I don't know if recognize the right word. I've decided in my head, or maybe have decided all along, that it's kind of my, I want my kids to successfully launch and take care of themselves, but I also recognize, like, I mean, you guys are going to get my money in the end either way. I mean, I'm happy to give it to you now as long as I got enough for me to make it to the end. And if I don't, then you got to take care of me. Like, so I'm less worried about that part. I think eventually everybody quote unquote launches. I think the duration of how long launching is varies by person, not even by family. It's by kid.
Mm-hmm.
I think some kids will take 10, 15 years to quote unquote launch all the way and be totally like, now I can lean on you. And some kids, it'll be like within 5 years, it's like, boy, you're really kind of on your own. But,
well,
oh, go ahead.
No, I don't want to interrupt your thought if you have.
I'm going to veer off. So go say your thought there.
Like, to me, there's an aspect of, like, I get where you're at, but I also think, like, this is a conversation Jenna and I have had a lot concerning our son, which is the idea of, like, no, sometimes the thing that is actually most helpful to them is not to help them.
Yeah.
Because, yes, like, he will get whatever money there is in the end. And I think, right. But, like, if he's had to lean on us the whole way, spoiler alert, the money he gets in the end is just going to be used to pay some bill.
Yeah.
Right. It's going to be used to stay functional. And I think, and then where's he at? Then he's screwed. Sure. Because he never figured out how to be functional.
Right. But you can't control that anymore.
No, but that's my, like, I guess to me, that's part of why, like, to me, when I think of launching, I think, no, outside of, like, there are some things that I'm like, yeah, that's a different life scenario. And so, like, yep, mom and dad are in a different spot than you. Yes, we can help, whatever. But, like, I don't know. Like, I look at the pattern that I know exists with some people, and it's just like, well, it's no big deal. Mom and dad will help.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, so you're not actually figuring out how to do this on your own.
Yeah. There's plenty of people like that where it's like, oh, some people are like, houses cost so much, and parents like, I mean, your parents are going to give you money for a down payment. What are you worried about?
Right. And so like that to me, like, part of it is, I don't know. Anyway, that's just to me where things get a little bit where I'm like, no, in my head at least, like, if my goal is to create functional adults, self-reliance is a significant part of that. And that's when I look back at my own life, I wish I had pushed for my own self-reliance sooner. I was self-reliant in a lot of things, but there were a lot of things I wasn't. And I wish I'd pushed for it sooner.
Well, this is kind of where I veer off a little bit then, maybe, because it's kind of funny. I think sometimes what happens at midlife is that we look back almost like with regret of like, oh, I wish I would have done this, or my kids aren't this yet, which means that maybe I failed as a dad. And lately I've been thinking more like a Cialis commercial. I think it was Cialis.
Joint bathtubs.
Yeah, but they used to have these commercials. Maybe it wasn't them, where it's like, we've reached the age where we know how to get things done, and like, and we know this and this and this, and that should be the same for your blah blah blah, right? Your manhood. And I've kind of reached a point, or maybe I'm reaching a point, and I'm telling myself this in the past few months, where it feels like, regardless, like with my job, it's like, look, man, no one could argue that I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, someone could say that, but it's just like, you just don't agree with what I'm doing.
Right.
Same thing is true with my family. I've raised my kids the way I've raised them. I can't undo that. And I know why I did it. Some people will really disagree with me about what I did and why I did it. And the fruits of what I've done, I think I'll keep seeing good and bad fruits for the next
forever,
at least decade or forever. And some fruits I should not take credit for, and some fruits I should not take blame for.
Yeah, I was going to say, some bad ones you shouldn't take credit for either. Like,
but I will. I know me.
Right. Human nature.
But I think it's been kind of nice lately to feel like, regardless of what my status is as a therapist, a professional, what I'm doing with my life in the community or in my church, my callings, like, I feel like, no, I know what I'm doing. I'm not at this point in my life because I couldn't hack this thing or that thing. I chose not to go that direction in those places. Or in other situations, it's like, I haven't been asked to do those things. I would have asked, but I'm not being asked, and so I'm not doing those things. It's not that I think I'm not worthy or capable of those things. So this is what's interesting when he talks about other feelings, and I don't know where he's going to go with this, but I've had a feeling of like, of kind of reflection that I think matters at midlife, to say, hey, let me look and see how I feel about how I've done in my life. Not necessarily how I've done as a parent or professional, although those are all part of it, but just like, what do I think of my life at this point? So that I could go forward. And if this was it, would I say, hey, I'm proud of what I did. I think I did a good job. And I think it matters to know, I think at least for me, it feels like that's easier to say when I know why I've done what I've done.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was listening to, it was that book by Finlayson Fife. And I was like, yeah, I do that. When she talks about, this is how you talk with your kids, you create, and I was like, yeah. And this is a loose comparison, but when I've told you guys this story before, when my kids asked what the F word was, and I told them, and I said, you guys want to say it? And I let her rip for like 30 seconds. They're just dropping it like crazy when they're like 7. And other people be like, that's a terrible idea. And I know why I did it. I don't want my kids to think this is some weird taboo thing. So I let them do it. And then I say, hey, look, guys, it's not a big deal, but it's also not polite. And it's not going to, so don't do this, or this. Or, Rob, why did somebody who saw my website and said it's not very professional, is like, on purpose. I don't want to come off stuffy. Like, I know what I'm doing. Now, whether that it doesn't work for everybody. It works for me. And it makes me feel like I think I've tried to live life the way I've wanted to. There are things that I could have done better for sure. And there are still things that I am plagued by insecurity of the unknown that's stopping me from pushing forward in those places. That still really bugs me, that it's been like 5 to 10 years of me saying, okay, do this. It's like, one day, Thursday is going to be the day in 4 more years, and I still haven't done it. But I don't know, like I still struggle. Like, I watch my kids with certain things and I'm like, man, if I would have done this with you guys, I think you'd be a little more ready for this.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like Matt, like I said, I don't know where Matt's going to go with that, but I wonder if how much of the regret, quote unquote, we feel when we look back at midlife has to do with where our kids are.
Well, like, one, my guess is just based off of my experience with most, like, as I work with a handful of couples or sometimes just women, or men, right? Like, individuals.
Yeah.
That's the more concise way to say it. Like, as I work with them and they're, navigating this stage, I do tend to spend a lot of time being like, no, your kid's your kid. Like, you may have made some mistakes, okay, but you're not necessarily responsible for the outcome, right? Like, your kid made choices. Could you have done things differently? Probably. Does that mean you're responsible for the way your kids turned out? No. Like, I was talking to one parent the other day and I said, if you really start to consider, like, when you last had control over your child, and I said, you need to go way younger than you think. And they're like, what do you mean? I said, you probably lost control of your child around 9 or 10. And I'm like, most people think it's somewhere in the teenage years. It is not. And I said, in the teenage years, you just stop being able to find the thing that scares them into behaving the way you want them to. But the simple fact that you're having to rely on, well, if you don't do this, then this is going to happen. Like, that tells you don't have control of your kid. Your kid's not just doing it because you said to. Your kid's doing it because you found a thing that they like less than the other thing you're asking. Like, that's not necessarily, like, to me, that's not control. It's just, like, it's parenting. It's and again, like, I'm not saying don't do it.
Right.
But it's just that idea of recognizing, like, no, control, I think, is gone for us earlier than we think. At the level that we think of it anyway, right? Like, again, there is still some control, and that's the way it is appropriate to be. But I think it's far less than we think at a much younger age. But, like, going back to this idea of, right, like the reflection. And I wouldn't have considered this to be a middle-aged thing until as you were talking, I was like, oh, maybe that is why I do it. Because I am much more reflective than I used to be, I think. But a lot of it now involves a recognition of I can't change any of that. Like, I've started to shift into, like, look, whether these were mistakes or not mistakes, like, they are the reason I am where I am. They are the reason I am who I am. I can't change any of them. I can change things moving forward if I desire to, but I can't do anything about those things. And so there's just a part of it for me that feels like, okay, well, I guess then what do I learn from this? To recognize it, I don't know. To me, I just try to view it all as experience. Like, that's the thing that I mean, I'm probably, well, not probably, I'm more solidly in middle age than you and Matt, but not by much.
Yeah, by like a year.
Well, I was going to say, but it's still that idea of, like, no, it's just experience. Like, is it good or is it bad? Well, I don't know. Some of it I enjoyed, some of it I didn't. But, like, it's just experience. It's not good or bad. It's just I learned things about myself, or I learned things about other people, and okay. And so how much of that can I share with my kids? How much of that do my kids want to even hear from me about? And I'm starting to understand, like, as I work through some things with different kids, just on different, various topics of significant weight, I find myself reinforcing, like, hey, you got to figure out where you are with this.
Right.
This is where I am, but I don't want to pressure you. Like, I can tell you what my experience has been. You need to go figure out what your experience is.
That's what even that mentality, I feel like that's a pretty important mentality to take, to say it's a grouping of experiences. Like, when you're talking about this idea of control with your kids, and thinking back how many parents I've talked to where I think when I tell them that, I think it feels to them like I'm being lazy.
Yeah.
Like, man, what are you going to do? And it's
I know parents right now who think I'm not decisive enough, or I'm not, like, strict enough, or I'm not. And I'm like,
yeah, it's so funny though. 'Cause I'm like, dude, I have way more data in front of me to watch people who've been really strict and hard on their kids and try to control versus those who didn't. And the opposite, by the way,
right, is not better.
It's not laissez-faire. It's like the opposite. What you're looking for is this middle ground where it's like, I found ways to connect to my kids so I could have influence.
Yeah.
But that thinking it's funny because it's like, there is a right way to do this. I'm like, well, good luck finding it, man. Do you know there's 7 billion or 8 billion people on the planet? Like, you think there's one right way to do this? It's kind of ridiculous. And the fact that the idea that, like, you can be so good at parenting that you will determine what your kid's life is. That's a little sad to me. You just destroyed your kid's chance to have their own life. They'll live the life you want them to live.
Well, and arrogant.
Yeah.
Like,
so
wow.
That's what's funny about looking back and saying I can gauge, I reflect on my midlife based on that external factors beyond me. It's like, look, man, it's a grouping of experiences. This is the life you've lived so far. And I think it matters. Like, I was thinking as we were talking about this, actually, just thinking, that's interesting. I remember Mike used to work in a furniture store, got a bunch of free furniture from his overtime. And then he worked making furniture. And then you were an elementary school teacher, and now you're a therapist. And I was like, I've done one thing. I've been a therapist the whole time. Like, freaking, what have I done? Like, like I envy these people who like move from thing to thing, because it's like, man, the gathering of experiences you've had where it's like, yeah, I used to work on a cruise ship. It's like, you did? It's like, yeah, I was an entertainer. And it's like, but you're a carpenter now. It's like, yeah, it wasn't for me, or like I got bored, or it's like, I want to be able to say like, I've compiled this list of experiences. Because sometimes I think, man, if people talk to me about like what's going on, Rob, it's like, I don't know. You want to hear about the 70 clients I saw in the last 2 weeks? What do you want to hear? I don't know what else to tell you about. That's all I got. And it makes me feel like I want to gather. That's why I've been thinking about our road trip, our bike trip we made to the gas station, to think, a stupid idea. Let's ride our bikes and meet at a gas station in a podunk town. Yeah, and it was a terrible ride home. Terrible ride home. I think I was going to die. I bonked hard. And I was super like heat stroke. Matt was like, I think I was heat stroke the next day. I had to take the day off. I was like, yeah, man, it was not good, but I love it.
Yeah. Well, cause and that's the other place my thought goes, is like, which I kind of already said, like the idea that they're good or bad, right or wrong. I'm like, well, I mean, and again, like I'm not one of those, postmodern, like, oh, there is no, like, no, yeah. I believe in some absolute truths.
Sure. Yeah. I think they're few, but I believe in some.
Yes. But I think, but a lot of the things that we look at as truth, I'm like, no, you're just talking about experience. It feels like truth.
Right.
Because it's the thing I know. And so like, well, no, this is true. And I think, well, sure. Like it's true. I had that experience, and it's true. It felt like this for me. That's true. Like someone else might have had the experience and felt differently, and that would be their.
It's true based on your narrative of life,
right?
And
exactly.
how it fits into that narrative.
And so, but I look at it, and especially over the last, I don't know, like month or two, like I've just kind of become obsessed with this idea. I'm like, yeah, I think life is just about relationships.
Yeah.
And like, you really want happiness in life? Develop relationships. As many varied relationships as you can. And so to me, like, do we have another guest host?
I don't know.
Oh.
I guess not. I was going to say, it sounded like you just, I thought Mike's like, do we have another guest host? And I was like, I don't know. And then you're like, sit over there. Anyway, so maybe we'll hear what Matt thinks in a second, but it's interesting because, sorry, Mike, finish your thought. I think you're in the middle of it still.
Yeah, but I got distracted by Matt's kid coming in. So
I know.
It's something with, just like to me, you guys going to the gas station, I think, yeah, but you got to have a talk, like for just a few minutes with this lady who's like the weirdest thing. Like she sees a monkey come into her store.
Monkey family, man.
And I'm just like, how many people can say they know someone like that?
Yeah.
And like in our profession, we know a lot of people. But I've never met a monkey family.
That you know of.
Well, sure. But I do tend to know an awful lot about these people.
It should be part of your standard assessment. And are there any monkeys living in your household?
And so, yeah, like to me, I look at it and I think, yeah, was it kind of a dumb thing? Like 2 mid-40s men biking to like meet up in the podunk town. I'm like, sure, if you put it on paper, it's like, seriously? Like, do it again. This is what you guys did on a Wednesday?
My favorite part was the restaurant where the lady's like, we have this other room that's air conditioned. Do you want to go in there?
Yeah, and they're like almost forced us in there, and it's like a bunch of slot machines. We're both
want to spend some money in here, guys? Cool. No, we're
good. Matt, before kind of what Mike and I've been talking about, I shifted a little bit from like, I think sometimes we gauge too much in midlife on how our kids did.
Yeah.
Rather than like, for me, I've been actually having these thoughts of like these feelings of like, I like the life I've lived so far.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel, I said it's kind of like those, there was this, I think it was like a Cialis commercial. It's like, we've reached the age of knowing how to get things done.
Except for this.
But like, because that's actually like I do like the idea. There's some things in my life where I could say, kind of like, okay, put off the child, Rob, and become a man. In some of these areas, still where it's like, okay, dude, like, get your crap together.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like, okay, I know how to do that. I'll do it.
Like, that was the interesting thing to me too, that like, so this bike ride that I went on Saturday, like I wasn't very far into it and I just felt like a kid again.
Dude, that's one time I was riding my bike, and it was when I first got my first bib with a padded butt. And I started riding. I was like 5 miles in. I was riding, like singing to myself, like doo doo doo, because I felt so excited and happy.
I was listening to some real bangers on some of my rides and headbanging in the middle of the country.
Sometimes I've been riding along listening to Hamilton, and I'm singing out loud. Anyway, what was your initial like?
So yeah, when I asked like, did you have any other this? I'll just make this quick because you're probably wrapping up. But,
yeah.
No, I've had like you remember over the last month I was saying like I'm feeling depressed in like a different way than I ever have felt. Maybe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm realizing more and more for me when I feel that way, I've got to grieve something. I think sometimes we just think of grief like, associated with like death or some other loss. But I think for me, it's like there's just some painful emotions that I need that are like forward moving. I need to like just visualize the thing that I feel like is tied to it, feel it, cry it out. And then I feel like, okay, now I can move forward. And like, it's not that I don't love the stage we're at where we're like launching kids, because I'm excited to see what they're going to do and like have faith in their ability to do it. But also like looking back, it's just kind of the realization like that's over. Like the little kid, phase. And I have positive feelings about it. And I wouldn't go back because it's, served its purpose. We've gone through it. Right. But I think there's just some like loss with it that I think is healthy to feel and go through to fully be in the present with what is happening now. But it is also like we've talked about this before. It's weird when your kids are launching and they're kind of not quite sure, who their group of people are going to be, what their career is going to be. Like there's all these unknowns for them. And there's a lot of unknowns for us too. It's like, I was talking to give Adam a shout out. I was talking to my friend this last weekend and we were talking about like house sizes, right? And it's like, man, if it, like on the day to day, if it's just me and you, we could live in like a 1,500 square foot house, right? But then like our kid's gonna want to come visit because they're like, oh man, we got to sleep in that freaking closet of a room. Like, so do we have a big house or do we, and it causes you to just think through some things that before it was like, oh yeah, well, we're gonna have kids, so we need another bedroom and we need, it's like it's all about growing and you kind of know more than you do at this stage. This is kind of what we're gonna need. And right now it's like, I guess we got to figure out, we have to wait for our kids to figure out what they're going to do and what they need. But I've also, heard other people say like, just set it up, this way that's appropriate for, your stage of life. And then you can always adapt from there. So it's weird. It's just like this kind of unknown stage where you don't know where to land yet, but there is some pain that I have felt. It's been really helpful to kind of like just grieve. Not, again, it sounds weird because it sounds like devastated about the fact that we're not in the little kid stage. It's not that. It's just more like,
no, but it is a change.
There's just like a nostalgic pain.
Yeah, I think it's grief is not always like I'm wailing in the corner. No. Sometimes it's just like, hey, I'm letting something go.
Yeah. That
is a good thing to let go of.
Right.
Like sometimes it's
a
good
natural
thing.
Ending. Yeah.
But it still is like, I'm sad about it.
Maybe it's more like honoring it. And I feel like that's a discussion that moms have way more than dads do, because dads, like you usually just hear dads saying like, well, they're off my payroll now. Like, or just stuff like that where it's like it feels real shallow. But I do think a lot of dads probably feel deeper than that, and also feel like you're saying, now I get to test out, are all the lessons that I tried to instill in them, like, did they land? Are they implementing them? And it's exciting to see them like try and fail and figure it out. But I do think that there's, if guys were asked a little bit more and like reflected a little bit more on this piece of it, I think a lot of guys would probably say, yeah, I feel that was awesome when they were, doing this, and they were around all the time. You hear divorced dads say it a lot, right? Like, now that I don't have my kids every day, it's devastating, right? I don't have access to my kids the same way that I used to. And so.
Well, all I know is kids are the worst, specifically middle kids.
Oh, middle kids. I forget.
Actually, her pediatrician said one time, which I think was a really cool observation. She's like, I'm really sad when I think about the average number of kids that people are having now, because the world will have no more middle kids. And middle kids fill a really important role in families and society.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I never thought about that. Huh. I guess middle kids save the world. I'm the youngest. We're the best. So you guys can say the world
and
you want.
Know it.
People still love us the most. All right. Well, then I guess that's it. We're down to 2 episodes left.
Catch us Midlife on the ManSpace.